With this kit, you will be making a tree frog pipe squeak. If this is your first time creating with us, we want to share a few tips to make this experience a great one. If you haven't yet, visit our techniques videos linked in the description below. For all you first-timers, we sent you some pipe cleaners in your kit specifically to practice with these videos and learn common techniques that will make your piece even better. Regardless of how many times you've done this, you have some extra pipe cleaners in your kit in case you make a mistake. That's completely normal and we've planned for it. The more time and attention you give to your piece, the better it will turn out. So take all the time you need, follow the steps, and above all, have fun learning and advancing in this new art form. Happy twisting! Let's make our tree frog pipe squeak. The only extra thing you need is a pair of scissors and an adult to help you with those scissors if you're a kiddo. To get started, grab a green pipe cleaner and run it between your fingers like you're curling a ribbon. This will make it easier to shape to your template. Roughly get the size and shape of the body on the template that came with your kit. When you have about the right size, pinch at the overlap and twist the ends over each other to connect. Now that you have the size, place it back on the body on their template and shape it to match. When you have the right shape and size, twist the extra pieces onto the frame gently to reinforce. With the connection locked in, double check that the shape and size are correct one more time. You will need 2 of these body frames, so repeat this process again. To make the second frame, use your first to size and shape so there is symmetry in your piece. You can connect with a small amount to lock it in this time. Now that you have it locked in, double check that size and shape on the first frame one more time. Now reinforce and lock in by wrapping the extra over the frame. Now size and shape once more. Let's make braces for our frames. This will help you have a sturdy structure to fill. Line up a full pipe cleaner in the center of your piece, having a bit of extra over the top so you can lock it in. Simply twist the extra over the frame at the top to lock it in. Now, with the pipe cleaner in the middle of the frame, lock in the bottom by looping over at the base as shown. Once it's locked in, trim the excess and secure on the bottom any extra you have. Make a horizontal brace with the piece you just cut. Be sure to center the pipe cleaner in the middle of the piece before tying on. To connect this, pinch at the overlap and bend down over the frame and twist. This will help keep the shape and placement. As you pass the vertical brace, loop on to lock in your structure as you go by. Finish the brace by locking in the final side and trimming and securing like you did with the vertical brace. Make those same braces on the second frame you created. As a tip, be sure you're simply looping over and not pulling too tightly as you anchor. You want to keep this practice as you work with your piece to maintain the shape. With our frames built, we need to fill them in. Begin by hooking the end of a full green pipe cleaner as shown. Connect on top in the middle by pushing it down and locking into the frame on the left side of the vertical brace. Lock in on the other side next to the vertical brace by tying on in the same way over the top of the frame. Now bring it back through and go back toward the left side of your piece. You will be wrapping over the frame to fill. See the link to our technique videos if you want to see this explained in detail before you start to fill. Turn your piece over and lay the pipe cleaner over the next edge. Lightly bend it over, then flip the piece over again and push it down more. Remember not to pull it or squeeze too tightly. Maintain your shape. So fold over the edge as you come to it, turn the piece, then pinch it to lock it in, lightly. Continue this pattern of bending, turning, and pinching down the frame. When you run out of pipe cleaner, extend by twisting a small amount of the ends of 2 pipe cleaners together. Continue to fill as before after they're nicely together. This is shown in our techniques video linked in the description below if you need to check that out. Be sure you're keeping the wrap close together, not pulling tightly, but making sure each line is snug to the one above it. When you have about one more layer left, lock in on each side of the frame as you pass, like you did at the beginning. Simply loop over the edge on one side, then the other. So you're locking in on one side, following the pipe cleaner to the other side, locking in and tying off to finish the fill. Now grab your second body frame and a new pipe cleaner and repeat the wrap fill process. Don't forget to tie on to start, then wrap as before. As a reminder, don't pull too tightly as you fill. Check your shape, and if it seems to be off, simply unwrap your fill, reshape, and go again. Double check that you kept the shape of both fills and we're ready to move on. Now let's make the legs. Grab a full pipe cleaner and cut it in half to start. Now cut that half carefully, or with help, in half again. Make a small curve in your piece and shape to that bottom of the leg on your template that came with your kit. When you have the right size and shape, twist over to lock in and connect one side. Leave the other sticking out for connection later. Repeat this process with the other half of this one that you cut. Make sure you're shaping to the leg you just created for symmetry. Be sure to check your size and shape together. Now let's make his foot. You will need to cut this orange pipe cleaner in half twice like you did with your green legs. Carefully, or with help, make the pipe cleaner to the right size to get started. With one of your cut pieces, shape to the foot on the template that came with your kit. Here's what those two pieces together will look like. Hold them up to measure them together. You want your orange foot to be slightly larger than the green leg. If you need to adjust the size, do so. The green leg you built will be a little larger than the template due to the fuzz, so simply adjust the foot accordingly to make the leg and foot go together well. Twist the ends to connect once you like the size and shape. Repeat this foot building process using the other cut half from this foot. Remember to size your second foot to your first for symmetry. Check your feet together and check it to the other leg as well. Now let's add some blue to his legs. Grab a full blue pipe cleaner and carefully, or with help, cut it in half. Grab one of the legs and with the blue, match it up. Leave slightly more extra off the end than the green to start. Start at the connection of the leg and wrap the blue pipe cleaner along the straight edge all the way down to the curve. This is the inside of the leg closest to the body. Keep your wrap tight to cover up the green edge. Trim the extra to the same length as the top piece when you reach the bend in the leg. Grab the other cut half and repeat this process on the other leg in exactly the same way. Let's fill in his orange feet. Carefully, or with help, cut a full orange pipe cleaner in half. Make a small hook on the end of one of your cut halves and tie on to the rounded tip of the foot to start. To fill, go over the other edge and back through. Continue to go over and through the piece on each side. This is a weave fill and it's linked in our techniques video below in case you need to see that. Once you finish your last weave, leave the extra off the top. Don't trim this. Repeat this weave fill with your other cut half of orange on your second foot frame in the same way. Use the extra green you have from cutting other pieces to wrap the leg. Make a hook on the end of one of those green pieces and wrap around the open green edge on your leg opposite the blue side. You will be wrapping just like you did with the blue. The difference here is that you don't need to make this super tight at the bottom. You want to make this fill the middle of the leg with green. Finish the wrap and you will have a little spot at the bottom, but the space between the blue and green should be touching so you don't see through. Now grab a foot and line it up to the bottom of the leg. Weave the long connection at the bottom between the blue and green wraps. Now twist the smaller connection of the orange together with the blue connection to lock in the placement of the foot. Do the same connection with the green and blue on top of the leg. Now wrap that green piece once more like you were before to finish. Move the extra to the back and trim carefully and push it inside to hide it. With the long orange, weave back through the filled foot from the back to the front to lock it in. Twist in the orange to the bottom connection to lock the foot in. Carefully or with help, trim the orange extra and lock it in. Repeat this again on the other leg. Use a scrap piece of green to wrap and fill. Remember to thicken that fill at the bottom to cover it, leaving a small gap to connect the foot at the very bottom of the leg. Grab the other foot and line it up to connect, pushing the longer end through the bottom gap from front to back. Twist the small orange over the blue to lock it in. Repeat this twist on the blue and green above as before. Push that long orange from back to front through the filled foot. Twist around the connection and trim carefully and secure. Wrap that green one more time if you didn't do that before the orange. Then trim carefully or with help and secure like you did before. Let's build his tiny arms. With help, cut another full green pipe cleaner in half to start. And cut that half in half again. Shape that cut piece to the small little arm shape on the template. This shape will make itself. Just get the length and bend it back over to double it up. To connect, wrap the top piece back over twice to lock it in. This will fill in the top for you. You should still have one connection off the side as shown. Check on the template that came with your kit and then repeat this process for the other green arm. Use your other short cut half to line this arm up to the first. Shape around it for symmetry like we have been for the rest of the frog pieces. Once you have the shape and size, connect by wrapping through over the top twice like you did for the first arm. If you end up with more excess than you did the first time, your piece is too big. Unwrap and resize as needed. To finish the arms, grab a blue pipe cleaner and carefully cut it in half to start, or get some help. Tie on to one of the arms and begin to wrap the blue around like we did on the leg. It should take about 3 wraps to fill it. When you're done, your piece should line up below your green connection as shown. Trim to the same length as the connection, carefully or with help. Repeat this wrapping process with the blue you just cut off from your other arm. Be sure to start on the opposite side that green connection is in order to get those pieces to be on the same side at the end. Be sure to push the fills together to flatten them out so you have no gap. After you've pushed together the shape and it's compact, trim the blue extra to match the green. Time to make his hands. Get a full orange pipe cleaner and carefully, or with help, cut it in half. Make a small hooked end and spiral around tightly to make a circle. Check the size and spiral until it's the size that you want. Then, weave the tail back through the middle of the circle to secure. Come back up through one more time on the bottom edge to leave your connection off the bottom like a tiny lollipop. Use the other half to make the second hand just like the first. Be sure you're making the hands the same size by checking them together. Connect when they match by weaving through the middle, then back to the front near the bottom edge as before. Now let's connect the hands to the arms. Find the gap between the blue and green wraps opposite the connections and push through from front to back with the long orange connection piece. Once you've pushed the long tail through, line it up on the back as shown and twist around to lock it all in. Once secure, pull the tail back to the front and trim off, carefully or with help, all but a tiny part to secure it in. It will be slightly movable, but that's so he can wave at you. Repeat this connection process on the other arm and hand combo in exactly the same way. Let's make his eyes. Grab a full green pipe cleaner and size it to the eye on the template that came with your kit. You will be creating a green frame first on the back of the eye. Once your size and shape are right, loop over once with the longer extra piece. Then, use that long piece to go across the middle of the circle. You will loop onto the other side and start weaving perpendicular to that brace you just made, starting at the top and going back and forth. Go under and through on each side back and forth until it's filled. You will be keeping one side in front of the vertical brace the whole time. When you finish the weave, go back under that side and lock in so you have two connections off the bottom now and our fill is locked in. Find the side with that vertical brace and pull it out from the fill a bit. You'll be using it to anchor in your red fill for the front of the eyes later. Repeat this process again to make the other back of the eye. Shape the second eye to the template, not the completed eye. Because we have filled the first eye, if you use it for the shape, your second one will turn out larger than you want it. So shape to the template again to keep the same size. When you have the right size and shape, loop over the long piece again and fill this eye with a weave. Be sure you're weaving over the center vertical brace each time. This will keep your brace on the correct side to connect later. When you finish your weave fill, lock it in, being sure your extra is opposite the other like the first eye. Pull out that vertical brace on the back. To make the front red eyes, grab a full red pipe cleaner and shape to the one of the green backs. You will want to measure off about a finger length to connect before you start shaping. The red should match the size of the green, but ever so slightly be smaller because it will get bigger when you fill. Once you have your shape, simply loop the long end over and begin to weave and fill all the way up the circle. Lock in that fill on the bottom on the opposite side of the first connection piece as shown. Be sure to lock in that first side you left for connection as well by looping over once over the edge of the frame. Make a second red eye, shaped to the other green back of the eye just like you did the first. Check to make sure they're fairly similar. You can shape and mold them to your liking. Also check that size on the back of the green eye, it matches. Now let's make the last part of the eyes, the center dot. Carefully, or with help, cut a full black pipe cleaner in half, then in half again. Use one of the cut pieces to make a spiral around like you did with the orange hands. Just bend a hook and spiral around a few times, checking to the template that came with your kit. When you have the size right, push the tail on the back to the center of the circle like a long nail. Grab one of your red eyes and push the connection through the center of your fill to the back. Now carefully, or with help, trim the black excess, leaving only a small bit. Use the remaining piece to simply pinch over and lock it in. Use the extra you just cut to make another center in the same way. Check to the first for size symmetry. Check your eyes together for symmetry before you cut the end off the second one. Now let's connect the front red part to the back green part of each eye. To start, grab a matching pair and bend the connections on the back of the red eye in a curve opposite each other as shown. Be sure your vertical piece is pulled up enough to connect to the green part. Put the top bit connection through the top part of the brace and go the opposite way to connect to the bottom as you see here. Pull on the red ends in opposite directions to tighten. This will not be a quick pull, gently work the eye down. Continue to pull, twist, shape, and move as you get your red front into the right position. When you have it in the right place, use your excess red to connect to the corresponding excess green by twisting over it. Do this to both sides. Now your eye has a clean front and a clean back. Repeat this process with the second front and back of the eye. Now you have two connected eyes. Grab a white scrap of paper and move all your pieces out of the working area. You're going to shave the fuzz off a black pipe cleaner for small face features, and you don't want this fuzz to stick to your piece. You will use the other half of the black you cut from the center of the eyes. If you're a kiddo, get an adult to help you. If you're an adult, be sure to take your time with this part. Keep your scissors close to the wire and get as much fuzz as you can off, leaving only the wire as much as possible. With this shaved piece, you're going to be making two nose pieces and a smile. You will see them above the colored pieces on the right side of the template that came with your kit. Carefully, or with help, cut your wire piece in half. You will then cut that half in half again. You will be using both small pieces for the nostrils next. Use one of the small cut wires to bend in half, making the shape of a staple. Remember, those nostrils are up at the top, those two small lines, so be sizing to that. Check the size on the template that came with your kit and see if you like it. Then repeat, sizing it to the first for symmetry with the other small cut wire you have. Now let's make his smile. Carefully, or with help again, cut the rest of your wire in half. Bend the piece and shape it to the curved smile above the mouth and tongue on the template that came with your kit. When you have the size and shape right, bend back the wire at the edge of the smile to make a connection piece. Feel free to shape this to what you want on your frog. Find a scrap piece of black with fuzz on it from earlier to make the top of the mouth between the tongue and the smile. This is about how much you need on that scrap piece. And here's what you're making. Simply bend it into a staple shape, roughly the size of the bend of your smile, with a slight indent on top like you see on the template. Shape and size comparing it to your smile until you're happy with how they look together. To make his pink tongue, grab your pink pipe cleaner and cut it in half. Then cut that half in half again. You only need 1/4 of your pink pipe cleaner for this. Make sure you have help if you need it. This is the size you want the tongue on the template. Simply bend a small edge over at the end and point the excess behind for connection. You can check the size to the template and your mouth to see if you're happy with it. Let's make one more piece, his white tummy. Grab your white pipe cleaner and do a ribbon pull to curve it to start. Then shape to the smaller oval underneath the cutout pieces on your template that came with your kit. Once you have the right size, connect together as shown and then shape to the oval again to make sure it matches the template. Once you have the shape, use the long extra to make a brace across your oval as you see here. Double check your shape and size again to the template before tying on to secure that brace running through the center of the oval. At the point of connection to that frame, pinch and loop over the extra to lock in that brace. After checking one last time on your template, trim the extra and secure, with help or carefully. Make one more brace on your oval by grabbing another white pipe cleaner and carefully, or with help, cutting it in half. Line it up in the center at the top and tie on. As you pass your horizontal brace, loop over like all the other braces you've made, then tie on to the other side and trim and secure when finished. Fill his tummy in by weaving. You will tie onto the top of the left of the vertical brace, like we have been, then loop over the other side to start weaving. To begin, go back toward the first side you tied onto. Then, simply weave over each outside frame as you come to it all the way down the tummy. For the oval weave, be sure you're looping over the top of the outsides. You will want to work your fill together across the middle and maintain that shape as you loop over like we have been. Take your time, don't pull too tightly, simply bend and pinch as you go over the edge to lock in that weave. When you have it filled, shape and work your fill to tighten and flatten. When you have it where you want it, lock it in by going through one more time and ending the extra on the back, locking it all in to the middle at the bottom. With your extra, wrap around the vertical brace on the back as shown one time to lock it in. With help or carefully, trim the extra, leaving about ½ an inch for connection. With the cut piece, add another connection opposite this one by tying onto the vertical brace on the other end and twisting around as shown. Trim this connection to match the other. Grab some of the cut white you have to make 2 more connections on the sides of your tummy. Bend a small hook to go from front to back over one of the fill pieces, just one, and twist together to secure. Repeat on the other side. Carefully or with help, make sure the connections are the same length and your tummy is ready to connect. Let's put him together. Choose one of your filled green pieces to be the front. We will be putting features onto it, starting with your tummy. Line up your tummy on the bottom edge of the body and push all 4 connections through from front to back. You will have to play with this and the placement as you go, so take your time and check often. If it's tough to line up, don't give up. Keep working with the piece and pulling connections around to make it right for your frog. Once you're happy with it, twist together opposite connections on the back to lock it in. Shape and adjust to your liking after it's connected once more. Let's connect those small nostril pieces. Grab one of them and line it up close to the top of the piece. Look at your template for placement. You'll be going across one of your fill pieces on this side, as the nostril will be vertical and at a slight angle. Be sure to go across the same piece with the other nostril when you connect it. When you have it at the angle you want, pinch down the connections to secure in the back. Repeat this connection process with the other nostril, angling it to match the first. Pinch down the connections when you like the placement to lock it in. Grab your wire smile now and connect. It should be about 1 fill line between your nostril and the connection for your smile. If you don't like the size of your smile, simply pull it back out. Adjust the size and push in. Continue until you're happy with the look. Now that you're happy with the size and placement of the smile, find the small black mouthpiece that is fuzzy and connect directly under the smile. When you're happy with the shape, size, and placement, pinch those connections to secure on the back. The back of your piece is a mess. You won't see it in the end. Get an adult to help you, or as an adult, carefully shape the tongue to a size and shape that you want with your scissors. Simply pull it out a bit and gently trim the edges until you like how it looks with the rest of the features. Then push it through all the way and trim the longer end of the tongue to pinch down those connections and secure. Woo! Now that all the small features are in place, it's time to connect the rest. Let's connect his eyes first. You will need both the front and back to line up the eyes as shown. Look at the template to start. The eyes are a little outside the nose, but play with it. Put them both in the middle of the body sandwich and find what looks right to you. Once you have it lined up, lay both pieces down and carefully remove the front, leaving the eyes on top of the back piece as you see here. Carefully pick up the eyes, being sure you have a connection pinched to maintain the placement you like with the two center connections. Twist together lightly to lock in your placement with those center connections. Double check after you've gently folded over the greens to make sure you still like the spacing between your eyes. Now that you're happy with the spacing, let's lock it in. You will be pulling up some of the fill to connect. You won't be going all the way through to the back, just around the piece you're pulling up. Slide those connections under that piece you pulled up and check your placement before securing. You might need to change the piece you're locking onto if it doesn't line up. Once you have it where you want it, twist the piece under the fill with the other color to secure on both sides. You will still be able to shape a little after securing. Don't worry about how it looks on the inside, you will cover it up. Just smash it down and make it flat. Now let's connect his hands. Line them up on the body with the blue on the bottom where you think you want them. Now get the legs and feet and keep the blue on the inside and place them where you think they go. Lay the front of your frog back on to check your placement. Move and adjust your arms and legs to where you want them. Once you like it, gently remove the front and look at the placement. Locate the part of the fill you want to use to connect and pull it out. You will pull out two pieces for the hands to connect, about 1 fill line apart, and further down, pull out 2 pieces for the feet. The bottom one will be just above the bottom of the frame, and then space it like you did with the arms, just 1 piece away. Check your hand placement again with the front on and adjust to where you like it before securing. Use the bottom piece you pulled up for the arms to push under the blue connection. Gently lay it back over to secure and check one more time with the front before locking it in. When you like it, lock the green in by pulling it under the fill piece you pulled out above the first and folding it over like you did the blue. Do this with both arms. The colored blue and green arms will just touch the edge of the frame and be visible when the front covers the connection. Now lay the legs back onto the piece and check placement with the front. Move them to where you want them. On the template, they're pretty close to the hands. Line it up so the feet point down like he might be hopping. The wrapped blue part will follow the edge of the frame for reference. Now connect your orange and blue pieces under and over the fill pieces you pulled out, just like the arms. Check for placement as much as you need to. Be sure you pull it out so you see the blue on his legs. Lock in the top connections under and over the piece you pulled out on each side. Check again with your front and you're almost done. Grab a full green pipe cleaner and we're gonna sew them together now. Begin by pushing that pipe cleaner through, starting to the inside of the left eye. You're gonna be going through both pieces. You have a lot to get through, but be patient and keep at it. It will go through. Once you get it through both pieces, twist together as shown to secure. Sew together going from back to front and around again. Keep those pulls tight as you go. If you're finding it difficult to get through, have an adult help you use a pencil to push through to make a hole to let the pipe cleaner go through it. Be sure an adult helps you with this each time you do it. Do not use your scissors to make this hole. When you have sewn all the way to the other eye, trim and secure the end. Use that pencil to make a hole between the eye and the arm, and you will sew through once and secure. Fold the extra back behind and trim and hide the excess. Make another hole between the leg and the arm and repeat the connection you just made. To get the bottom together, gently pull the tummy away and sew under to connect it. Make one connection like you have been on one side of the center part of the tummy and twist to secure. Push through again on the other side with that same pipe cleaner. To lock it in all the way, sew through once more before hiding it to secure. Don't forget to push the tummy down in place again when you're finished sewing. Make another hole to sew together between the other arm and leg, and then again between the eye and the arm like you did on the other side. Twisting to secure, then trimming and hiding each. Trim and secure your final piece, and you're finished. Great job! We want to see how you did. Tag us on Instagram at AccessOrize to show off. Tell us what you did with your piece. It can be a keychain, a charm for your backpack, water bottle, or purse, or even a magnet. Thanks for creating with us. Be sure to subscribe to this channel for more creations and follow us on social at AccessOrize for more. Until next time, happy twisting!